Yes!
Explosions have been heard in Crimea. Russian occupiers claim air defense and drone attacks, while locals report the strike on the Belbek Airfield. According to the local telegram channels, Crimean Wind, the Atesh guerrilla movement, and the so-called head of the city's occupation administration, Mikhail Razvozhayev. An explosion in Sevastopol looks like the work of the Russian air defense, Crimean Wind writes. In particular, according to the monitoring telegram channel, Russian air defense is operating from the Belbek Airfield and the Inkerman area. An alert has been issued in Crimea. In Sevastopol, the military is repelling an attack by the Ukrainian armed forces. Air defense is operating. According to preliminary information, 2 air targets have already been shot down over the water area near the northern side, said the so-called head of the occupation administration, Razvozhayev. In addition, according to local telegram channels, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are allegedly conducting a combined strike using a group of drones, Neptune missiles, and S-200 missiles. According to the pro-Russian networks, Russian air defense is allegedly operating drones in Yevpatoria and Saki. Later, it became known that new explosions occurred in Sevastopol. There are many air defense missile launches and explosions in Sevastopol. There are reports of a strike at the Belbek Airfield, Crimean Wind writes, adding that a powerful explosion was recorded in the city. The damage from the attack is still unknown, but we will know the details soon. Footage shows how Ukrainian mobile fire groups attacked Shahed drones overnight.
Збиття шахіда.
Знищення, було знищення.
Так, було знищення.
Yes!
According to the president of the Federal Intelligence Service, Bruno Kahl, Russia could launch an attack on NATO territory in the coming years. Russia is preparing for a war with the West, said Kahl at an event organized by the German Council on Foreign Relations in Berlin. A military confrontation is becoming a possible course of action for the Kremlin. He assumes that the Russian military will have the personnel and material to carry out an attack on the West by the end of the decade. According to Kahl, a large-scale attack on the European NATO countries is not to be expected. Russia could therefore rather try to circumvent the commitment to assistance laid down in the North Atlantic Treaty, and thus cause the Western alliance to fail. If Russia were to attack a NATO member militarily, and the other member states did not see this as an attack on the entire alliance and react accordingly, Russia would have achieved its goal. Kahl quoted BND assessments that high-ranking Russian government officials now have doubts as to whether the obligation to provide assistance under Article 5 would hold in an emergency. The BND chief said, "At present there is no evidence of Russia's concrete intentions to go to war. But if such views prevail in the Russian government headquarters, the risk of a military conflict will grow in the coming years." Kahl mentioned possible scenarios as a short attack on the Norwegian Arctic island of Spitsbergen for territorial clearance, or a limited intervention with little green men in Baltic states under the pretext of protecting Russian minorities. Russia is concerned about the failure of NATO as a defense alliance, said Kahl. From Russia's point of view, that would be achieved if Article 5 remained ineffective in the event of an attack. Before a possible war starts, however, Russia will try to split NATO, said Kahl. This could happen, for example, if the Russian government draws individual member states to its side. Head of State Vladimir Putin will test the West's red lines and escalate further. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has also repeatedly questioned the obligation to provide assistance as set out in Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty. A large Russian mechanized attack was repelled near Chasiv Yar. A total of 7 BMDs were destroyed. Recent reports highlight intensified Russian attacks on Chasiv Yar, a town in the Donetsk region, as part of their broader offensive in eastern Ukraine. Russian forces, including elements of airborne and motorized divisions, have engaged in operations to push Ukrainian defenders back, reportedly making incremental territorial advances. These attacks are occurring alongside broader assaults in nearby areas, such as Toretsk and the Siversk-Donetsk Canal region. Despite some claimed progress, Russian forces face stiff resistance from Ukrainian defenders who effectively use artillery and drones to disrupt assaults. Muddy terrain and logistical challenges have further complicated Russian operations, slowing their momentum and leaving their infantry vulnerable to counterattacks. The ongoing fighting underscores the heavy toll this conflict continues to exact on both sides, while illustrating Russia's persistent focus on securing key positions in Donetsk. Ukrainian forces struck 2 Russian boats on the Dnipro near Zaborin in the occupied part of the Kherson region. After that, they set a Russian bunker ablaze. The Dnipro River remains a significant battleground, with Ukrainian forces maintaining and expanding their positions on the eastern bank in Kherson. Ukrainian troops have conducted effective operations near Krinky, establishing bridgeheads that challenge Russian defenses. These positions are reinforced by artillery fire from the western bank, creating logistical and operational dilemmas for Russian forces. Despite persistent Russian counterattacks, the Ukrainian military continues to hold ground and inflict heavy losses on their opponents. China is taking advantage of Russia, bit by bit. Moscow, weakened by sanctions, turned to Beijing for help. But this help comes with strings attached. The relationship between the two countries is a friendship on paper, but in reality, it is a way for China to get access to cheap raw materials and export its surplus machinery and consumer goods back into Russia, turning a very good profit and creating a dependence on its manufacturing capacity and economic power. Russian oil and gas are the most obvious and common examples of this quasi-colonial relationship. But as sanctions tighten and the Kremlin's coffers empty, China is expanding to other resources as well. China has become a hub for Russian gold. Russia, the second largest gold producer in the world, has resorted to using its sizable gold reserves to avoid sanctions by offering gold as barter for goods they need. China might also be refining Russian gold to launder it past sanctions. Exports of Russian diamonds to China via Hong Kong have increased 18 times year on year in 2024. While partly this is done, once again, to avoid sanctions, there are signs that China might be processing and selling them back to Russia. About $12 million worth of diamonds were exported to Russia in August 2024 alone. The largest diamond transaction from China to Russia before this was only worth $200,000. Beijing is exploiting Russia very smartly, as Moscow struggles to support its war effort.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.